What's up, everybody? The Hot Tag Podcast is back in action. Little Sunday flavor for you. It's the Sunday main event. That's right, you're in the right spot. Hot Tag Podcast. Make sure you drop a follow, drop a like if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. As always, with me, my tag team partner, Eddie. How we doing, my man?
It's Sunday. I'm feeling it. It's Wrestlemania season. It can't get much better than that. Or can it? I guess we'll get to the topic of that because I've heard twice this week, gotten comments from people going, what the hell's going on? WWE has everything that they need for an epic WrestleMania and they're just dropping the ball. And so I'm like, and at first I was like that. I'm like, what are they doing? And then I switched my mindset and I said, you know what? I'm gonna be a kid and be happy with whatever, we get. I'm gonna switch my mindset for me personally to just I'm gonna be, as long as it's fun, that's great. Because let's think about it, the last two WrestleManias have been fun. They've been a lot of fun and they've been great because they've been fun. But let's break it down a little bit and why people feel like they're dropping the ball.
Whew.
And I think what people feel like they're dropping the ball surrounds primarily two groups, let's say. One person in a group.
Okay.
Maybe a couple. We'll list some names. Bray Wyatt.
What?
Hey, I heard that, the delay.
Yeah, you're good.
Bray Wyatt. Damage CNTRL.
Okay.
A lot of people are going, like, what are we doing with Bray? How long has this been going on? What's going on? Bray and Bobby, what in the hell? Why are we getting Bray and Bobby? No one asked for that. And then you're like, really, no one asked for that? Like,
No.
Nobody asked for that. We'll say this, and I said this to somebody, and I said, even though that might be a blessing in disguise, I'll get to that in a little bit. And then we got the whole damage control thing where you're just like, what the hell are we doing with that? Like, all right, would Bayley and Becky be a predictable match at WrestleMania? Like, do Bayley and Becky in some type of stipulation match? Yes. But it'd be a hell of a lot better than Bayley and Lita tag teaming and, holding the tag titles going into WrestleMania against possibly Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Like, who asked for that?
No one.
It just seems like when I look at what it makes me think of is that horrible last end of the 20s WrestleManias. But after WrestleMania 24, 25, pretty much, even 25, after WrestleMania 24, there was only one good match on the show every year. And it was like, and now you can go back to those random late 20s WrestleManias and just see random ass matches. Like, one I'll never forget, I went back to watch and I was like, the opening match was Randy Orton, Big Show, and Ryback versus The Shield, and I turned it off. I was like, I'm done. This is the type of WrestleMania that we're rolling into in our opening match. I'm done.
That's enough of that.
And so that's what that feels like. Random people will look back on this WrestleMania one day and go, Lita versus Ronda and Shayna? What the hell is that? She is so big that she doesn't need. Well, Becky deserves better to be in a tag match. I'm sorry. Case blank. Becky deserves more than to be in a tag match at WrestleMania. Becky doesn't do tag matches at WrestleMania. This isn't WrestleMania 1 with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. This is WrestleMania 39. You don't need that anymore. Becky doesn't do tag matches at WrestleMania. Point blank. Becky puts on classics at WrestleMania in singles matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think it popped up on the feed on Monday Night Raw a few weeks ago. It said that Becky's last 3 WrestleMania appearances have been involved with the Raw Women's Championship. I was like, that's kind of interesting that they're making note of that, considering they're not pushing her towards the women's title at all. And I agree with you. I don't know that she should be in a tag match. The only way it would be okay in my mind is if it's a superstar riddled, like, mending of eras classic match where you had Trish and Lita and Becky versus Damage CNTRL. That is the only tag match involving Becky Lynch I want to see. Because honestly, you want to bring all these melting pots of generations, 2 of the best of the women's evolution, the 2 original best women ever to do it that really started bringing women's wrestling to WrestleMania in the first place, in Trish and Lita. And then you have the next generation of two very, very talented women of Io Sky and Dakota Kai. I just think that match sells itself. I think that could be a night one main event, in my opinion. But now, if you want to give me Shayna and Ronda versus Trish and Becky, I don't want that. I think that should be stuffed somewhere insignificant in night one, maybe like a 3 or a 5, something we're never gonna remember, because I don't want to remember that match, considering the last 3 WrestleMania matches Becky Lynch has had have all been fucking bangers. And it's like, she hasn't gotten a win in her last 3 also, let's remember that. So she needs to win.
Wait. Yeah, she had.
Ooh, did she?
She beat her last. So her last one was against. She was injured. Then she had the one with Shayna Baszler, which she won, and then the one before that, she won the triple threat.
She had a WrestleMania match with Shayna Baszler?
Yeah, it was during that rough time in the Performance Center.
Oh, I didn't even remember that. Okay.
And that's when everybody was like, "Ooh, Shayna probably should have won that," because it was like you built her up as a monster, and then for some reason Becky won, then surrendered the title, to Asuka. It was like spit in the face for Shayna Baszler, and then just we have Shayna Baszler now. That was the end of Shayna Baszler. But I wanted to touch on what you said. I do like. I'm gonna be honest with you. Jiving with me. Simply did the 6-man tag. 1 second. Are my notifications popping up on the screen? Can you hear them?
No.
Okay, good. So yes, that 6-person tag is not jiving with me at WrestleMania. I thought that was cool for Elimination Chamber where it should have took place, but at WrestleMania, this is why it's not jiving with me. It's just like Becky Bayley singles match. That's what it needs to be. Yes, bring Lita and Trish and have them tag together against Damage CNTRL. To me, it's like, all right, I get what you're saying, and I think that's a great, great match, and I do, and I'm just like, but does it feel like a WrestleMania caliber match? Because it to me just feels like a thrown together match. Let's throw these ladies in here together.
I don't think it at this point it will be a thrown together match. Had it built up the way it should have been, where Trish showed up at Elimination Chamber and then it became a thing, then it would make a hell of a lot of sense. But now I think you're right. They missed the boat on it. Now it would be thrown together. But if they put it together at Elimination Chamber and planted the seeds then, I think it would have been ample time to make it really, really interesting, considering the fact that Trish and Lita aren't going to be there all the time. And, Dakota's hurt, so you have that little cushion there, too. So
I think you're right. It's the build. It's the build that where, like I said, it's the build to the point where it's like, I'm going to look back at this Mania years down the line and go, Trish versus Damage CNTRL. Huh. All right. I mean, that definitely sounds better than looking years going Becky and Lita. What? What do we got there? What do they call themselves? Just because they both have red hair, we decided to put them together?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on with that? But I have faith. People are like, what's going on? And part of me, I think some people, like, oh, it's happening again. It's like Vince is screwing us. I have faith that this will work itself out. Faith in Triple H this will work itself out. I don't think that's going to be the finished product. I don't think we're going to get a Becky Lita versus Shayna and Ronda at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
If we do, wow, what a mistake that was. Wow, what a mistake that was. But then here's also why I don't see that happen with Bayley. Then what is it? Bayley and Trish? Then they're just like Bayley and Trish don't mind it at all. But now it's just like this is all just thrown together.
Well, I think it's like we do this thing where we build these things up in our minds We're like, oh,
Yeah.
that'd be great if we could do that. And we start booking things. But like, reality is maybe Trish was busy. I don't freaking know. Maybe she's not available. Maybe she's not ready to
I
go in the
heard she was
ring.
wrong.
What?
They just didn't pull the trigger. She was supposed to be out there, and they didn't pull the trigger.
Well, that's a massive fuck up in my opinion. I don't know, but there are some good things going in the WrestleMania season, and you mentioned one letdown that I actually think is they're turning into something cooler than it could be. Than I thought it was going to be, which you were talking about Bray Wyatt. And yes, there is a generalized disappointment um, with Bray Wyatt because I think people are still waiting for a payoff. And I thought the LA Knight thing was cool. I thought that was a nice way to introduce him. And besides Howdy missing LA Knight by a mile, the pitch black match was awesome. I really, really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the whole build to it. And then this Monday or Friday, we're not really diving deep into the shows this week, chat, because the shows weren't really that good. What was good was the little pieces of story, and that's what we're really going to touch on. So we'll talk throughout the show about the shows as we go through our topics we want to talk about. So that's going to be more of the focus. So anyway, Friday, Firefly Funhouse is back, but it really wasn't. It just went to the Funhouse was empty. It just cut to the TV in the Funhouse, which cut a promo that I think Bray put together himself because the end of it showed him like watching all of it in like a gorilla position, so to speak. But it was basically saying like, what if I had a secret and a story to tell you? Would you believe me, basically? And it's like, oh, does he have something like in the past we don't know about Bobby Lashley? Is like there this story now? Like I'm interested in that. I just, I get where the frustration comes, but I don't think anybody does the slow burn better than Bray Wyatt. And now Alexa Bliss tweeted, "Where's Alexa?" the other day. So now you got to figure she's gonna come back at some point soon. And this hiatus was a work. It seems like, which I was 80% convinced it was. Like, yes, she is taking a vacation, but it was also part of the story. Um, it's one of those things. It's a two birds with one stone. But I think that if they do it right and they keep building this Bray Wyatt Bobby Lashley thing, it'll be cool. But Bobby Lashley did get to beat the hell out of Elias. That was pretty fun.
Um, I was very interested in the Firefly Funhouse, and to me, it left me with more questions. I'm not so much upset at this slow burn. I too enjoyed the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match gets a lot of hate, and I think there's only one reason it gets hate. I tell you right now, if he didn't pin LA Knight in the middle of that ring when he did, and they just called it a no contest, he would have been praising that match. They would have been praising that match. But instead, for some reason, he hit the Sister Abigail, pinned him, and then proceeded to chase him. And it was like, you could have hit the Sister Abigail, put the mask on, then chased him. No one would have said anything. But the match ended so abruptly that it just was like, let's put a little asterisk next here. And that's the only issue people have. And because of that, it gets a bad rap. Yeah. And it's like, it's almost like when, the one thing that stops Reigns and Kevin Owens' last man standing match from being a classic is the fact that the referee stopped counting because they had he had to stop counting. So you're just, what a really bad asterisk on a great match. And I think that's what happened there. So I cut that a lot of slack. My struggle is the interruption into this Bobby Brock feud. So terrible to the fact that like Brock and Bobby like a last man standing on WrestleMania, but I know some people didn't. They were tired of the story, and they had every right to be tired of the story because it's been asked through the whole thing. And I just kept thinking, well, maybe they keep making it ass because they're going to give us something great at WrestleMania. But then no, you just DQ. And then another part that doesn't make sense is Brock beat his ass afterwards, and then he just shows up and beats up Elias, and it's like, and it like if that like. Based off your character, is where all right, he beat my ass, I'm gonna walk away. No, he beat your ass. You're coming for him. So now all of a sudden you're not coming for him because Bray says he's going for him, and then now we get Brock and Omos. So I think because of that, it's really hard to be excited about Bobby Bray because we know what we're getting, and now because of that, we're going to get an Omos. So
Yeah.
people are like, golly, please just let it be Brock and Bobby. People who were saying they didn't want Brock and Bobby are now saying, please give me Brock and Bobby. I don't want to see Brock and Omos, which I'm going to say might be a blessing in disguise because, guys, Brock doesn't have good matches. I don't know when's the last time he had a good one. We just want to see Brock Lesnar. We don't want to see him wrestle. Be real. We don't want to see him wrestle. His last good match was with Roman at SummerSlam, and before that, I don't know. I just want to see him. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise, the Brock and Omos. Maybe it's like, it's going to be 3 minutes, and then it's going to be over. Get him off our damn screen.
It's like, maybe it is a blessing in disguise, but I don't see it. And like, we keep talking about like the Bobby and Brock storyline ended up being ass. Like, Bobby Lashley, just like storyline wise, is not very good. Like,
he was with the Hurt Business.
But then again, it was MVP that was making it interesting.
Also unstoppable, and like people were like, "Man, who's gonna beat this guy?" Like,
right, and that's in the ring. That's in the ring. He's unstoppable. He's the Almighty. But I'm saying he can't carry a story by himself. He can't. He's not interesting as a person. Every time, I'm gonna kick your ass. How do you feel about that, Bobby? I'm gonna kick his ass. What are you gonna do next, Bobby? I'm gonna kick his ass. Okay, any fucking original thought, bud? Any at all? He's just like,
the Terminator.
Yeah, I respect Bobby Lashley's in-ring ability. He sucks. Like, every once in a while, he'll cut a promo, and like, I try so hard to be like, that wasn't bad. Good job, buddy. That's like a B- for effort. Great job, Bobby. And then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm trying to like him because I want to, because I do respect his in-ring ability. But he's another one that, like, we want to see, but he's the opposite of Brock Lesnar. We want to see him wrestle, but we don't want to see him do anything else, because he can't do anything else.
I have a point to make on that, and it's funny. Let's talk about it. The only reason Bobby's over right now is because you like him, and he's not even that great in the ring to me. He's just a big, he's strong. I hate his spear. I think when he catches the guy and falls backwards with him, I think that's a dumb move. Like, you're so strong. Lift the dude. Everybody else who does it lifts the guy up and then flatlines him. Like, just do it right. But Bobby gets people going. Like, he gets the crowd into him because he does the whole,
which is stupid.
It is, but people do it with him. He's got like the whole crowd doing it with him. And like, I started doing that, I'm like, even I do it now. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I into this? It's the little things. Like you don't have to be a great talker if you can get people into you. Like, let's talk about it. People like Seth Rollins. But how much people really like Seth Rollins now because we like singing his song. We like singing him. We love him dancing. It adds. There's something about a great entrance over the top. You can't deny a great entrance. We like Shinsuke. Shinsuke Nakamura is kind of boring now. And do we all get behind him and want to cheer for him just because we loved his entrance?
Yeah.
You know?
I know what you mean, but like, Seth Rollins can talk. He's entertaining outside of the ring.
I didn't want to take from Seth when I said that. I didn't want to take anything from him. I was just saying it adds an extra level to him, like Triple H.
But Bobby doesn't have that extra layer. He's just in-ring talented. And if he doesn't have that stupid fist, if he doesn't have the stupid fucking fist pump, he has nothing. He has nothing. Because listen, not for nothing. For Seth, it's an extra layer. For Triple H, it's an extra layer. For Bobby Lashley, it is fucking everything. That's the difference. That's the difference, Denny. That is the difference.
It keeps him on our screen.
It's the only thing. It's his muscles and the stupid fist pump. Like, that's it. He's done 4 different iterations of the fist pump, by the way. And that's why I'm completely over it. I'm like, but like, in the beginning, it was just as dumb and uncoordinated as it is now. I don't know why he changed it 3 times. You know, and people were doing it every single
time. Got a
cool
entrance.
I liked it when he
would start going like,
yes,
he just comes up with his arms crossed. Now he just comes up with his arms crossed, so now I don't like it. But when he was just like flexing as he was coming up, and then he did the pop, I thought it was awesome. Now he just does this and it takes it away. Also, that one he had when it showed the like it had a little video package for him on the screen before.
You know what the big problem may be, honestly, is Bobby Lashley needs to be a heel. Because we can't need to like this guy. He's so unlikable.
He's never better than when he's a heel.
Right.
I think he will become a heel with Bray. And I think we can get behind this match. It's just, honestly, I think we'd be a lot more excited thrown out of left field, and it wasn't, and because of it, we weren't ending up with Brock and Omos. If we weren't ending up with Brock and Omos, left field, we'd be a lot more excited for it. But now it's just like, and I also try to think about how that match is going to look. But I think seeds were laid, and I still am holding out for Brock Lesnar interrupting Omos, and for Bobby interrupting Brock and Omos, and he's just him and Brock are gonna finish it out with a crazy match, last man standing or crazy match at WrestleMania. I'm holding out for it, but it is what it is. If it isn't, it isn't. Because I think even if Bray does not decide to attack Bobby right now, the door is wide open for him to do anything at WrestleMania, and we will be entertained no matter what he does. Yeah. He could have a 10-minute conversation with Alexa, and we'd like, you know?
Honestly, it might be better than a match where he gets squashed again, which I think, if we're being honest, against Bobby Lashley, this is the best opportunity for him to win and look really good. Because if Bobby Lashley loses to Bray Wyatt, it doesn't make him look bad. He's Bobby Lashley. He's going to lose the mind games, and Bray's going to get to him. Bray and Howdy are going to get to him. Maybe Alexa. And it's going to be fine. And I think Bray Wyatt needs a big WrestleMania win against like a guy at the level of Bobby Lashley, despite we just spent 10 minutes shitting on him, basically. But he is at that level. He is that dude. I think he could.
That's why he's because we spent 10 minutes talking about him.
That's a part of it.
It is. We can't spend 10 minutes talking about Elias.
God, no. We'd be left with 8 minutes and 30 seconds and nothing.
And that's why Bobby's still on TV.
That's true. You're not wrong. Listen, Elias versus Bobby didn't make the Hulu cut. I'm going to say. And that's Elias's fault. Let's not pretend it has anything to do with Bobby. But
it wasn't even a match.
No. So, interesting thing. Kevin Owens told Sami Zayn to fuck off again. Kevin Owens acted like the girl who had been cheated on, and then the man was trying to run back saying, "See, I saved you. I always loved you. I need your help. Help me." He said, "If you need help, go call them other hoes you've been fucking." He said, "If you need help, go talk to your buddy Jay, because I'm not your fucking friend anymore." He said, "I didn't do that for you. I did that so you didn't get embarrassed in front of your wife and child. You dumb bastard." And I was like, I still think it's gonna come around. I'm not giving up on the KO Sami Zayn tag match versus the Usos at Mania, because it seems like Jay is still on the fence with Sami. And when Sami Zayn left the ring after confronting Jimmy on Friday, Jay came down. He was going to go the direction of Jey Uso, and he was like, "Okay, me and Jay are going to go walk off." Jay gave him an icy cold stare, and Sami went in the other direction. Minor, but they did it on purpose. So, like, there's also a rift because Jay's starting to realize, like, yeah, Sami did XYZ for me, but he also broke up my family, which is more important to me than anything else in the world. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing to Jey Uso, and that's been the constant. He does have respect for Sami and the things he's done, and that's why he's tried to see eye to eye, because he put his body on the line for Jay a couple times, and there's been that trust built. But, man, Imagine being Jey Uso right now. Wow.
I'm laughing because I admire about that. It's like it reminded me. And I'm like, oh, I still thought about it this way. I agree 100% with you. And wait, when I looked at this, I said, oh, I like this. I like this. So now they're gonna make us. It's gonna be a redemption story for Sammy. He's gonna fight. He's gonna fight. He's gonna fight, and then eventually KO is gonna team with him, and we're gonna get it at WrestleMania. I was like, I already see it. I've been watching wrestling for 13, 15 years, and I'm like, I see where this is going. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. I'm going to have a nice warm feeling about this afterwards when he finally says yes. And you're like, I'm holding out. I think he'll be fans. And I'm like, I feel like that again. It's like, I love it. He's like, I think it's going to happen. Like the way you looked at that. And that's what they're supposed to be doing. That's how it's supposed to make people feel. I loved every bit. I was like, oh. Like I just like instead I wish I was in the moment instead of like laid out the full plan of how it's gonna work. Like to me it was like I just laid out the full plan of how it's gonna work. But man, I envy you right now.
Listen, I think you're not alone when you say you feel that way. I think there's a lot of people that ruin it for themselves with their own expectations. And there's a lot of people that there's a lot of people that do that put on those I've seen this before glasses. But I also look at it in the fact that this is a show. I'm supposed to enjoy it. I try my very best not to do that. I try my very best not to put my, like, oh, I've seen this before. And I also try to remember it's a different booker now. It's a completely different person. And we've seen numerous times where it's been different. And there's been a few times where you and I have texted back and forth where, yeah, that was a Vince booking. Right? Where, like, and there's belief. I've seen stories that there's belief that Vince is involved in creative again. So,
it's mainly because of that Omos thing. A lot of people think that's Vince. But what I'm saying is, no, I've seen the way you're like, oh, I hope it goes this way. I'm like, it's definitely going that way. It's where it's like, I wish I was in there, like, oh, I can't. I'm hoping, like, I want to be like, oh, I hope instead of me, I know where it's ending up. That's cool. I like it. Ooh, I'm going to get a warm feeling from it. Instead, like, I'm going to get a warm feeling, but my warm feeling would be so much bigger. But I was like, oh, I hope it ends up like this. Instead, to me, I'm just like, the path is very obviously laid out. I've also decided, mentioning that, I've decided from this moment on, well, I actually started yesterday, I'm not watching anymore. I'm not doing any more, like, news channels for wrestling because they're just going to ruin things, and I want to be surprised by everything.
Yeah.
I did that last year, I think. Didn't I do that last year? When it gets close to WrestleMania, I stop looking at them because I just want to be surprised and shit.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, honestly. Like, there are people that aren't going to be able to help themselves, and they're going to be on every dirt sheet. And they're not all dirt sheets, but they're definitely wrestling dirt sheets. Oh, did I lose them?
Yeah.
What happened?
Do that shake. How do I get back on here?
I died.
Sorry.
There it is.
Someone called me. Everybody, I get on here now. Everybody and their mother wants to call my phone, text my phone, and everything like that.
Maybe that's why your sound is cutting out, is the notifications.
Most likely. I just put it on Do Not Disturb. Hopefully I don't get anything now. I didn't realize I didn't have it on Do Not Disturb.
Well, let's see how it goes. But yeah, there's definitely dirt sheets out there. There's also some really legitimate, like, news sources for wrestling that actually do research and have sources that they talk to. But yeah, like you said, it does ruin the fun a little bit. Like, the more you peel back the curtain, the less magic there is. And that's kind of where I differ as a fan, and you say I still have that not knowing that hope. And that's part of the reason why. Like, you keep talking about What Culture. You're a big What Culture guy. Shout out What Culture. I respect those guys. They do a lot of cool shit. I don't listen to them, and I don't listen to the Busted Open podcast, which is a serious show, Sirius XM show.
There's also Cultaholic. Cultaholic's a good one.
Yes, that's another good one for that reason, because then you get too much behind the curtain, because those guys are really, really tapped into everything. And for me, that's too much, because now I'm like, oh, now I'm expecting this. And then if something happens in real life that is, unforeseen, then it's kind of like, oh, well, what the hell? And then they have to change plans, and then I'm pissed off at that, whatever. I'm just kind of like along for the ride, and it's just like, if you look too much into the story, you ruin the story. It's like, don't read the script, because then you're going to know how it ends. And it's like, those guys are great. And I look at their stuff too. It's just like, for me, if I get too into it, it does ruin it. Now I'm like, oh, I know this is going to happen because this is what they're reporting, blah, 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 blah. It's just, if you want to really, really enjoy this WrestleMania season, don't dig into the weeds too much. Yeah. Enjoy it. Just watch the show. Enjoy it. You know what people don't want to do anymore? They don't want to use their imagination. They want to be told everything and figure out everything right now. Let your imagination be what it is. Enjoy the story. Because every time I turn off the TV after I watch one of these things, I'm like, oh man, what's going to happen next? I can't wait till next week, blah, 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 blah. And then I wait a week and then I think about it. It's great. And that's how I recommend doing it. Shout out those guys. They're great. They do a lot of work and they do really good stuff. If you want to check it out, you're into that stuff and you like to be behind the scenes and be in the know, those guys are dope.
I agree. The only I've ever seen from WWE is from WWE themselves. I'm gonna do that because it's
right.
I do want to be excited. I was excited. I stayed up to 11 last night on Monday because I anticipated that Finn Balor was gonna interrupt that match, that Edge match, but I wanted to see it, and I was like, let's hope. And when it did happen, I was like, yes. I was like, please, let's get this. Let's get Finn, Edge, Hell in a Cell. By the way, that Edge and Austin Theory match, that was a good match.
Yeah, it was.
And I want to say that was one of Edge's best matches since he's been back. And I want to say it's probably his best because that match he wasn't trying to be too serious. I like when Edge takes the approach that better than you, kid. You got a lot to learn. I've been around the block. When he takes that approach and he's like, I'm trying to out-wrestle you instead of, oh, I'm going to hit you, you hit me, we're going to be on the ground for selling this. I love this less serious Edge, less dramatic Edge. I love this because he, that whole monkey flip when he landed on his feet and he just looked at him. And he didn't even make that moment too serious. As soon as Austin Theory walked to him, he was waiting for the crossface. I was like, yes, Edge, let's go, wrestle in here. This guy can wrestle. Show us. I was like, man, Edge can wrestle. Edge looked great. And I'm excited for a Finn Balor Edge match. I just hope it's a match where Finn's not being, I'm gonna run away from you. Finn's like, no, I'm sick of you, I'm gonna beat your ass. And Edge is like, I'm sick of you, I'm gonna beat your ass. And they just let these guys unhinge and go. Because if they let these guys unhinge and go, we got a crazy match here. We got the match we could have had between AJ and Edge last year instead, but those guys held back and wanted to tell a story.
So, yeah, a story that they didn't even tell. Because that was just such a miss. But I agree. I think it just keeps pointing to how much Austin Theory has leveled up. He looked really good in that chamber. He got his ass beat a little bit, but he was really entertaining. That segment with him, Gargano, and Seth Rollins in the pod was absolutely hysterical. He's talking shit to Gargano, and meanwhile Seth Rollins opens the other side, and Gargano's like, hey, buddy, what's over there? He's doing great, and I think you're right. I think this side of Edge is a lot better. I think it's more fun. It's more entertaining. It's what we want to see at this point in his career. Because we know he's not legitimately going after world championships. Besides when he was in the feud with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, did you legitimately think he was going to win a world title? I never did. And I think you're right. I think a U.S. title shot was a really good thing for both him and Theory. Because that's one of those titles you're like, yeah, okay, I can see that happening at this point in his career. Not a world title, but they want to give him one more before he's out. Yeah, that was great. But yeah, it did everything it needed to. And I think, I don't have anything else.
And it's just from that standpoint, I didn't ever think Edge was going to win, but I was still excited because it was a good match. And the reason it wasn't because I watched the dirt sheets, I was just like, well, Finn left saying, I hate you. I don't think Finn's done with you. That was just the psychology of being a fan going, I don't think Finn's done with you. He's going to attack. And I was really excited to see Finn attack him by himself, not with Damian Priest. So I was really, that was, this week alone, there was two things that I walked away with being really, really happy with. Despite, what took place on television. It was that, and on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre walking out and just staring at Gunther in his match.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I had seen on WWE's page that they said, "Can we get you on the SmackDown Lowdown?" What a show name! And so Drew went on there, and I was like, yesterday on Saturday, I was like refreshing the pages, like, when is it gonna come up? When are we gonna see Drew on the SmackDown Lowdown? What's he gonna say? What's he gonna say? Drew laid out the challenge for Gunther. He's like, he goes, there's 5 weeks to Mania. I want you, Gunther, and I want the IC title. When are we gonna let's hear Gunther answer the challenge? Like, I'm just like, that's something I've been wanting for a while. So like, I walked away actually very happy, not with overall, but just seeds that were laid down. And then also, I'm gonna jump back to Raw before. Actually, I've said. Do you want to talk on anything I mentioned before I jump back to Raw quick?
Yeah, the Drew McIntyre thing is interesting that he called out Gunther because I saw they're promoting a 20-man battle royal at MSG, and the winner gets to face Gunther. I think Drew McIntyre is in the 20-man battle royal, but it's like.
Well, here's the thing. So here's the thing. There is a lot of misconception on that. There's a lot of people are confused on what's happened. I seen one say he gets to face him at WrestleMania. It's the battle royal is going to take place in the beginning of the show, and then the winner, I'm assuming, will face Gunther at the end of the show.
Oh, so it's a squash.
And
anyway.
At the end. It's on a Sunday. It's like, they promoted that. It's just like, and it's going to be someone who won, and that's about it. Because also, who's in there? Finn Balor's in there, but we know he's going to wrestle Edge at WrestleMania. It's like you got a bunch of people in there. So yeah, yes, I'm really excited for that. And there's another thing I did hear on the dirt sheets, but it doesn't matter. Next week Batista is they're going to most likely announce Batista as going into the Hall of Fame on Friday because it's going to be in Washington D.C. But I don't know if he'll be there. It'd be nice if he is. And then somebody was like, "Oh man, Batista on SmackDown, then John Cena on Raw the next day." Woo-wee. So, but the Miz has a announcement, and I didn't care, but now I'm like, what could it be? I was like, if it's anything about the Hall of Fame, or if it's about, like maybe he'll announce the Razor Ramon Memorial Ladder match, WrestleMania Memorial Ladder match. I mean, that's me just I have no sources. Me secretly praying for it. That's me secretly praying for it, and that's the ladder match that he's in. Or he'll announce something with Logan Paul. It's one of those things. And whatever. Either if he announces any one of those three, whatever. If he announces anything like him having a baby, I'm really pissed.
Yeah, I just want it to be something consequential, like you said. If it's something dumb like, oh, we're having another kid, like I will be pissed. Or something dumb like just between him and Maurice, I'm gonna be like, we waited a whole week just for you to fuck us off. But yeah, I also could see that happening. I don't know. But yeah. There's not too much else that there was to talk about, I felt. But there, you mentioned the man. There is strong feelings that he is going to headline the 2023 Hall of Fame class. Batista.
Oh man. This brings tears to my eyes that I would have seen his last match. And I'll see him go into the Hall of Fame. The
and
man
you got
Undertaker.
2 years in a row. You had Undertaker last year, and then you get your favorite Batista this year.
Someone said, I read a post earlier today, and it was just John Cena when he got drafted to the Raw, and goes, kids today will never know what it was like to have John Cena as the WWE champion and Batista as the Raw Heavyweight champion. And I was like, someone tried to chime in and was like, I had Hulk Hogan and somebody, and I was like, there's only one world champion at the time. Get the hell out of here. There was never. Closest we could ever have was when you had Stone Cold. When Stone Cold was WWF and The Rock was WCW, but it wasn't the same. The best world title coinciding champions, in my opinion, was Batista and John Cena. When you had the world champion and Batista world champion, WWE champion John Cena, it was a magical time. It was absolutely perfect. As Homelander says. I wish I could, what he says?
Yeah.
He was the WWE champion and Batista's the world champion. And they tagged together on numerous occasions, and it was magical. We didn't have Titans of Batista and John Cena. We had memorable tag team matches with them. And then we did have we had them we did it too late. We had it too late. But they was still actually the crowd was still really into their matches both times when they wrestled.
Well, it's Batista and John Cena. It's like I know what you mean. I think they miss capturing lightning in the bottle is what they did.
I think 24 would have been the perfect time. 23 or 24 would have been the perfect time because I remember when Batista and Undertaker versus John Cena and Shawn Michaels, and it was like, wow, Batista versus John Cena, Taker versus Shawn. Wait, you got everything you want here. You got everything you. Oh, you see that video of that kid? Man, life is good. I got mom's making pizza rolls. I got a girlfriend. I'm playing Fortnite. Life is fucking good.
Yeah.
It's like, and so that's what it was at that time. And then like 23 was perfect. I think 24 would have been a perfect time, especially their stare down in the Rumble. It was Batista, Triple H, and John Cena, but it made sense for John Cena to be in the main event, like to win that Rumble. It made a lot of sense for him to be in that man, but it was a good time. I know they wanted to do it at 25, which was still a decent time to do it, but by that time they both their star powers. John was getting booed by a lot of adults and loved by kids, and then Batista was just fading, and that's why he eventually went and took his heel turn.
Yeah, and it worked for Batista. He actually arguably became more popular after that.
Well, it's funny because people hate him, but they love to hate him. It's like So here's the thing: part of the reason why John Cena is so popular is because he was hated too. He was so hated, and it was right. Like, people were like, they say we don't measure your popularity based off your cheers. We measure it off your boos or your cheers. And that man was so hated. But Batista, he was a walking meme. I mean, he still is a walking meme. I mean, the guy showed up like he got nicknamed Blue-tista. Bautista, like it's just like he's a walking meme. The guy was just legendary at that time.
He made you feel something.
For money, you can keep kissing babies and hugging fat girls, right? Like he's got great one-liners. He's got some great liners. But yeah, he's to the next. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame ceremony he's in. I'm definitely going to have him sign my belt.
Big gold, baby.
My goal is to have him, Triple H, and Edge and Taker sign it.
The 4 best to ever hold that?
Pretty much. The top 3 are Batista, Edge, and Triple H.
Well, I mean, if you go all the way back the lineage of the belt, Rick's got to be on there.
Yeah. Well, so the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, not like because like that was the NWO World Championship, so like. And WWE, when that championship was alive in WWE, those are the top 3 guys that hold it on everybody's account.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny because I don't know, me personally, I don't think Edge to be number 1, but he did hold it the most.
Yeah, he did. And, like, I wouldn't put him as number 1 either, but he's definitely up there.
Yeah. And so I know on Cultaholic and I think One Culture, they have, on the 2, they have Edge is number 1, Triple H is number 2, and Batista number 3, and then some have it Batista number 2, Edge number 1. I go off of me, I put Batista up there, but I understand why Edge is up there more. And I think Batista should definitely be over Triple H. But I mean, I can understand why Triple H is over him. Because of that World Championship, he built Batista. He built, you could say he built Chris Benoit too. I mean, but like Randy.
Who didn't he build with that title?
Exactly. It's like, a lot of people will say when you think of Big Gold, who do you think of? You think of Batista. I mean, he wore that belt the best. He like just physically looking, the best in that belt. I know you think
Triple H.
A lot of people think of Batista when they think about that Big Gold. I know you definitely. I know you do. You're a Triple H guy anyway, though. So it's like, it's funny. I also when I think of the WWE title, I think it overstayed its welcome. I love that title. I think it represents a whole generation.
Oh, the spinner, you mean?
Yeah, but I think the moment you stopped having it spin was the moment you should have got rid of it. And I think you stopped having it spin, and also like it looked weird on people other than John Cena.
Yeah,
it looked weird on people other than John Cena.
The only other person I thought it looked good with was CM Punk, but like that was it. I thought Punk looked good with that, but like Sheamus looked weird, looked really weird with it.
I think Triple H looked okay with it, but it still was like if Giant wasn't involved in the story with the spinner belt, I felt like it shouldn't be there.
I liked The Miz just because it got turned upside down. Like, that I liked, but yeah, I didn't. I thought.
Who also didn't look bad with it, but I still think it should have went was Batista didn't look bad with it. But it was like I said, when he wore, he didn't look bad with it at all.
I
But
don't think Batista would look bad with almost any belt. He's just one of those guys, yeah.
I was going to say, but also look at that dude. Like,
yeah.
He looks good with any belt.
Yeah, he carries it well. But no, I think. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about this week? I'm pretty much tapped. It was a little bit of a light week.
That Firefly Funhouse was interesting. I was left with, like I said, I was left with a lot of questions. But I thought it was interesting, and like now I'm like, I am just want to know where we're going with this. Patient.
We're not going to find out until like. That's the thing about Bray Wyatt. It's like, oh, where are we going with this? Don't know. We're not gonna know until it's over.
Yeah, I know some people are like bummed out about it. I'm like, I'm gonna go into WrestleMania feeling pleasure to be there
because you're going.
I'm going. It'd be nice. All right, but yeah, that's all we got this week, guys. I think wrestling. It's a fun time to be a wrestling fan, no matter what. Oh well, shit. Wait a minute. We didn't talk about Jay and we didn't talk about Jimmy and Sammy in the ring.
I did. Yeah.
I thought you talked about Kevin and Sammy, not Jimmy and Sammy.
No, I did briefly. Like I talked about them dusting up and like how at the end of it Jay came down and everything like that. That was really the payoff of it, yeah.
Yeah. I thought to myself, I said, well, look at Jimmy trying to get his acting chops in here, trying not to be Jay's partner.
But he still is because he was the footnote because as soon as Jay showed up, everybody in the crowd started looking at him and nobody looked back at Jimmy. That's just kind of what it is, right? And then, like I said, the interesting part of that whole thing, Sammy tries to leave with Jay and Jay gives him a mean mug and made Sammy go the opposite direction.
Yeah, did he try to leave with him? I thought he just looked at him and then jumped the barricade and went the other way.
No, he was like taking steps towards Jay, and like Jay was like giving him a mean mug, and like Sammy took a couple steps back and went the other way. Like he looked like he's like, oh, Jay's here, like I'm about to go talk to him, and like that's my dude still, like we're in cahoots. And then Jay was like, there's still a part of me, especially because now you're fucking with my brother. I really don't fuck with you. Like it's getting spicy over there.
I'm excited. Like I said, people should just, hey, there's going to be filler matches. That's just the matter, especially when you have matches like Sammy and KO versus the Usos and Cody versus Roman and Edge and Finn in a Hell in a Cell and Gunther and Drew. There's gonna and then you have Rhea and Charlotte, and Asuka and Bianca.
Yeah,
you're gonna have fillers. I mean, those are six solid goddamn matches. 6 solid matches. And to the point where, let's be real, there's 6 right there, and you're probably only going to pepper in 2 more matches. Probably going to pepper in 4 more matches. And if you have those anchoring, out of those 6 matches, 1 should open, 1 should be the middle of the card, and 1 should close.
Yep.
Out of those 6 matches. And those, literally, I'd be surprised if those aren't your openers, your middle, and your closers.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're set up, like the main events and the staples of the show are set up really well, and all they have to do is not miss with the filler, right? If Omos and Brock isn't god awful, fine. Becky, unfortunately,
it should be second match. That's match number 2. That's match number 2. That's we were just excited about whoever came in and said welcome to WrestleMania, which hopefully is Triple H, because no one gets sick of hearing that entrance music.
No, I think night 2 when he came out, like that
pop was damn near bigger than those Stone Colds.
Well, because it was Stone Cold was all but told right, and Triple H. Yeah. There was a couple people when I posted the video of that Triple H entrance that were like, "Oh, that was so expected." I was like, "Bro, no, it wasn't." Like yeah, it was the first WrestleMania since he had to like officially announce his retirement, but I was like. Nobody knew that he was going to come out and do that.
He had that heart issue, too. So we weren't really sure what was going on with him, too. So
we weren't sure that he was back yet.
Yeah. we weren't. So that was a complete surprise, and I was just like, like I could hear best theme songs of all time.
Oh yeah,
Just great entrance, and I'm hoping that's what we need. We need a great stage, we need great promo packages, and we need a great entrances. Even though nowadays it's like not many people have really many good entrances anymore. No one's song that you want to sing along with. Like
there's just a couple.
Yeah,
Sami Zayn's new song, his old song.
His old song, Sammy's will want to sing along.
Seth Rollins,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Seth you're not singing the lyrics, you're just kind of singing with the melody.
Well, same thing with Shinsuke and Sammy. It's the same.
Well, yeah, exactly. Where it's like, not taking away from these guys' interests. I think they're great, but I'm saying from the days when it's like we're singing every lyric.
Oh no, like Voices, dude.
Yeah, the Voices. We're singing every lyric to Edge's song. We're singing the lyrics to Batista's. We're singing the lyrics to John Cena's. We're singing the lyrics to Triple H's.
Rey Mysterio song, Mysterio's.
We're singing body in that Attitude Era. Shawn Michaels.
Ruthless Aggression was just. I think it was like the best part of everything that is wrestling. I swear to God, like it was the beginning of the new generation that we're at now, and you saw some pieces of that, but it was still a mix of like everything that made the older generations. Oh my God, I'll die on that hill.
I used to love. Love, and it's like, you can't really like, even when you play it, sometimes you gotta be careful when people are looking. Chris Benoit's song.
Bro, there's so many memes with Chris Benoit's song now. Oh, they're everywhere, and they're all horrible. So if you have a dark sense of humor, they're great. If you don't, I'd suggest staying away. But like, it's at the point where like,
home dinner's not ready.
Right. Yeah, it was like, yeah. Dude,
I love this song. His song was so good.
And every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God. Like, every time I see him when I'm watching old wrestling, I'm like, man, I wish what happened didn't happen.
Yeah. It's sad that we only wish that because we miss his legacy. Instead of just saying, well, I wish that didn't happen because
two people died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops. And anyway, I think that's a good point to wrap up on this week's edition of the Hot Tag Podcast. Wow, what a way to end. Thanks again to everybody that's hanging out and watching. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.